Hi folks, welcome back to the Hoard. I'm just getting back from Misquamica, Rhode Island. Went for a quick little vacation with the wife, and just nice to kind of get away, to reset, to kind of get going. Though most of you will say, you're retired, you're already on vacation. But my wife is still working, so going on vacation's actually very, very important to her. Anyway, while I was in Rhode Island, you guys know I like to hit flea markets, junk shops, such, pawn shops, all that kind of great stuff. And while I was there, I found this interesting piece. This is the second one of these I have. It was $18. And what this does, and by the way, it's an old timer. You can see it 6 to 8 volts. So yeah, this is an old time thing. And what it does is it monitors how fast you're going according to what time it is. I remember this on a school bus. It was a 12-volt version, by the way, that I remember from the school bus. But the way this works is, I believe the clock is powered. Nope, that's how you power the clock. You wind it up. Hear it ticking. So anyway, you set the clock and the time on this, and these pins move up and down according to how fast you're going, and it puts it on the chart. So I guess if you have multiple users using the truck or the school bus, a different one in the morning than at night, you could see that the morning person, because once again this chart is marked by time. You can see it here, what time it is. Anyway, so you could see when someone is speeding. I'm not quite sure when this was made. Before cars went to 12 volts, or before trucks went to 12 volts. So my guess would be, for my entire knowledge of cars, I think it was like, we had an old International truck that was 6 volts when I was a kid growing up, and I believe that was a 1956 or a 1958. 56, I think it was a 56. So, you're going back to the 50s for when this was built. I bought this in Niantic at a junk shop, and the person who got it to the junk shop was there, the junk shop owner, and he got it when he cleaned out the garage of a older gentleman who had passed on. So that's where this keeper came from. Nowadays they have GPS. And a lot of times, a lot of trucks have real-time GPS. So if you're speeding down the road, burning up the pavement on your way to lunch, or a girlfriend, or whatever you're trying to do, trying to get an extra couple of hours of sleep perhaps, with the real-time GPS tracking, quite honestly, your boss could be notified via computer email message or cell phone app or whatever, that what you're up to real time, which means he could call you in your truck and tell you to cool it and slow on down. A lot of these requirements get put in for insurance purposes, right? For some reason, people think that folks who drive faster than the speed limit are dangerous. Obviously, if the speed limit's 30 and you're doing 100, you are dangerous. But if the speed limit's 55 and you're doing 56, I'm not thinking you're too bad, but that's just me. I'm not the insurance company. So anyway, there's the tattler. That's the first thing I got. After that, there's a flea market, and by the way, Niantic's in Connecticut, just before New London. Then I went to a flea market in Charlestown, Rhode Island, and I picked up this stuff. There was a woman who, unfortunately, she lost her mom and dad and husband, all in fairly rapid order. And she was just selling off a lot of the stuff. And she said all this stuff came from the garage. So this is a Maglite. And obviously the hammer's a Husky. Number 2 Phillips. These are Protos. There you go. Utica tool. Vice grips. Made by Vice Grip, by the way. Right? Not the Chinese version. These say DeWalt on them. This was made in Italy, but it's interesting because that side is a 12, that side's a 13, and you see the little hole, so you can kind of put a cross into it, so you can turn it. Bernard compound dikes. Rulers made in the United States, Miller Falls. I don't know who made the chisel, but it looked like a nice old piece. Had plenty of miles on it. Dead blow hammer, and yeah, right there. I don't know if you guys could read it. I was having a lot of trouble reading it. File, punch. This is a spring-loaded punch. $10mm Sears 6-point. And this flashlight, this is made out of Bakelite, and this is what it says on it. She said it was her dad's, and he fought in World War I, II, and the Korean War, and he was in the Navy. So he brought it home from that. Once again, this is made from Bakelite. It's not plastic. Looks like it was used for testing, for opens and so forth. So yeah, I'm not sure how well you guys can see that, but it does say USN, US Navy. So this was 18, and these were called the average $1 a piece. I forgot how many pieces that are there, but basically I ended up paying $1 a piece for it. And there were plenty of you who would say, you know, God, you have plenty of, you know, vice grips. That's true, but when you're picking them up for $1 a piece, they're very hard not to buy. Hammers, you have plenty of hammers. That's true, but when you can buy a Husky hammer for $1, very, very hard to leave behind. Maglite flashlights with batteries that work. You know, once again, it has the waterproof thing there on the switch. The batteries supposedly are good to 2024, so they got another few years on them. Once again, at $1 on the average for all this stuff, how could you go wrong? Some of you might say, yeah, but you normally get the sockets for only 10 cents or whatever. Well, I might have paid only 10 cents for the socket, And then I paid, you know, $1.90 for the hammer, or $1.90 for the Maglite. This was just an interesting piece. I figured I'd pick it up just for curiosity. Kind of like the CSX lantern. Pieces like this, or like the CSX lantern, they don't keep appearing on the market. Eventually it ends up in a restaurant or somebody's collection or something. So eventually they get disappeared. So I figured while I can bag it, I will. You guys could see the thing. I wound it up and it's already gone for about the length of this video. So the clock works. While I was cruising around, we were just outside of Mystic on Route 1. There's a guy with a shop known as Mine, M-I-N-E, and he's got all kinds of junk in there too. Didn't happen to buy anything from this year. But what he likes to do is he likes to take things like this and turn them into interesting parts of a lamp. By that, like, what are you kidding me? Well, imagine the base of a lamp being something like a pressure plate, and then a pipe coming up and holding one of those big farm type reflectors. They're white on the inside and green on the outside. They kind of hang down with the bulb, you know, right there. So, and something like this on the up toward where the light is. Basically a lamp that goes on a end table or something. So he likes to use stuff like this, or motorcycle speedometer clusters. As a matter of fact, he had a cluster with a headlight that was really pretty cool on one of those lamps. The cluster didn't do anything. That's a change I would have made in the whole thing. It would have been cool if as a night light the headlight came on dim, or the cluster lit up as a night light type thing. So much easier to do that stuff now that there's LEDs available for it. So anyway, this is my second one. It's kind of cool that the clock works and all. So I'm happy with it. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think. We'll be back to normal programming tomorrow. Hopefully the weather cooperates with us. Folks, I want to thank y'all for watching and commenting and subscribing. Remember to keep your feet down, keep your heads up, and please get out there and enjoy all your days. No matter what you're up to, make sure you get out there and have fun. To my buddy Roger, Flash TV, good luck with all your chemo and all, and I'm hoping you feel better. When believe it or not, Harvey 100 years ago was pre-med. When I was in college, I started out as pre-med, a chemistry major, pre-med, and when I took genetics, my genetics teacher said, if you live long enough, what will eventually kill you is cancer. Let's say you have a super heart and super everything, but they say eventually if you live long enough, that'll get you. It's just the way your genetics eventually end up. That's kind of why humans have a tough time living forever. Anyway, Roger, if there's anybody who should go forever or a very long time, it's you. And once again, I wish you a speedy recovery. Take care now, folks. Bye.